The film opens with the introduction of Doc Alexander, a former Special Forces operations agent. In a gripping scene, he witnesses the sentencing of Juan Miguel Prado, a notorious member of the Prado family, the largest cartel in Mexico. Prado is found guilty of murdering several innocent civilians in America and is about to be executed. However, the execution has been kept secret to avoid provoking the powerful Prado family. As Prado is about to meet his fate, he shocks everyone by declaring that the killings were only the beginning and that the victims he had killed screamed like pigs. This ominous statement sends shivers down the spine of everyone present, including Doc, who begins to realize that there may be more to this story than meets the eye. The following day, Doc meets up with his partner Billy Riggs to discuss the dangerous mission they have been assigned. Their task is to negotiate with the infamous Prado cartel to prevent them from continuing their illegal activities in America. The surprising thing is that the mission was ordered by none other than the governor himself. As they discuss their plan, Doc is distracted by a news report on TV about the execution of Juan Miguel Prado, the same man they were supposed to negotiate with. The report mentions a strange traffic jam that occurred during the execution, which should have been kept secret. The report is followed by an interview with Governor Richard Jeffs, who promises to take strong action against the cartel if they dared to enter America. Hearing this, Doc becomes worried. He knows that the Prado cartel had previously agreed to stop their illegal activities in America, but the governor's aggressive remarks could unravel the delicate deal that had been negotiated. Doc knows that if the deal falls apart, it could lead to a dangerous and deadly showdown between the governor and the cartel. He and Billy Riggs are determined to complete their mission and prevent such a catastrophic outcome. In the afternoon, Doc picks up his daughter Nell from school, whom he sends back to his mother's house. They have a meal together, and Doc asks about the situation at home. It turns out that Doc has been divorced from his wife, and his daughter now lives with his ex-wife. Meanwhile, in Mexico, we are introduced to the Prado family, who are outraged by the governor's interview, especially since he openly executed their brother Juan. We meet Juan's older brother Lalo and his youngest brother Cuco. Cuco is furious and feels that his family's pride has been severely wounded. He intends to seek revenge on the governor for his corrupt actions by traveling to America. Later that evening, Doc meets with Billy Riggs again, and they both look worried. They know that if the governor doesn't apologize to the Prado family, the cartels will retaliate with ruthless violence. They also know that their own families could be targeted by the Prado cartel. The stakes are high, and time is running out. Later on, Billy Riggs attempts to meet with the governor but is unsuccessful. So, Doc meets with the governor's assistant to request a meeting. However, the assistant informs him that the governor is busy and cannot meet with him for at least a week. However, Doc refuses to take no for an answer and insists that the governor see him immediately. After some persistence, Doc and Billy Riggs finally meet with the governor. Billy Riggs urges the governor to apologize to the Prado family and to stop inciting violence against the cartels. However, the governor is hesitant to do so as he is running for re-election and wants to appear tough on crime. Billy Riggs warns. The youngest member of the Prado family, Cuco, seeks revenge for his brother's execution and demands an apology from the governor, which is not granted. As Doc is leaving, the governor's men launch a raid against the cartel, causing a shootout. In a fit of rage and betrayal, Doc joins the fight and kills the governor's men. Later on, the governor's assistant is seen discussing a deal with the cartels, but the governor is caught in a corruption scandal and chooses to take a stand against the cartels to gain public sympathy. Cuco ambushes the governor's assistant and demands to know what the governor is planning, threatening to kill him. The next day, Cuco contacts Doc, believing that he and the governor are playing games with the cartel members. Cuco demands the governor's head, and Doc is trapped, unable to risk the life of his daughter Nell. He turns to an old acquaintance, Carl Roach, who was one of the governor's partners and a former member of the cartel. Doc threatens to break in before Carl relents and lets him in. Doc gathers information about Cuco's background, and Carl reveals that he is the youngest brother of the infamous Prado family. Carl then asks what the cartel has demanded in exchange for Nell's release, and Doc hesitates before revealing that they want the governor's head. Carl is angry and attacks Doc, but Doc kills him before he can alert the governor. Doc knows that he has made the situation worse, but is determined to save his daughter. Meanwhile, Cuco has made arrangements to meet with a man disguised as a woman at a seedy motel. The man nervously asks for permission to use the restroom, but Cuco forbids him. They soon begin making out. Doc has made his way to the governor's residence and takes out the guards, including the governor's mistress. He is determined to get to the governor and put an end to this once and for all. When Doc finally faces the governor, the man tries to explain his actions, but Doc isn't interested. All he cares about is his daughter's safety. Without a second thought, Doc kills the governor and goes in search of a chainsaw. He knows what he has to do to get what Cuckoo wants, the governor's head. Doc contacts Cuckoo, who agrees to meet him at a motel near the US-Mexico border the following day at 8 a.m. As he waits for the meeting, Doc takes a break at a bar, carrying a bag containing the governor's head. His ex-wife contacts him, desperate for news about their missing daughter. Doc shows her that he is doing everything he can to bring Nell back. Back at the motel, Cuckoo returns to the room, angry with the man he had hired for daring to open the door to the toilet. Cuckoo kills him, only to find out that Doc's daughter had been held captive in the bathroom the whole time. Cuckoo takes the dead man's body outside to dump it in a nearby trash can and manages to convince the suspicious motel staff that the man had been too drunk to make it back to his room. In the end, Doc meets with Cuckoo, who demands to see the governor's head. Doc hands it over, and Cuckoo releases Nell, telling Doc that they are now even. The story ends with Doc and Nell driving away, leaving behind the dangerous situation that had threatened their lives.